Mixing bands for game 2 between SKT and CJ Entus. Reach trying to whip these guys into shape.
Interesting to me that SKT has banned out Fior on both sides. Maybe a pick that Duke isn't that comfortable on yet, because it's a big change in their strategy that we saw at the World Championship with Marin, where it was definitely a major priority for this team.
Yeah, very true. There's a Rise ban, of course, against Faker. Just not something you want to let the guy play, but...
And this is really interesting. So Fior and Lissandra have definitely historically been very potent picks for SKT, because Lissandra's a very good flex pick when they had Marin, because Marin was probably the best top lane Lissandra player in Korea. And of course, Faker no slouch on that particular pick either. So banning it on both sides, again, is a major change. So perhaps, again, Duke not exactly comfortable on those particular champions. They also might just want to take a longer team fight because they're leaning away from even picking Lulu first. So same bans on both sides of the rift here.
Wow.
For SK Telecom. It's not something you see very often. And same thing so far for CJ. MF was the final ban in the last game.
What's it going to be this time around? A lot of good picks. Tom Kench
that's probably
taken
smart.
away. Yeah.
This will force a little bit of a different style of composition out of SK Telecom. And fortunately for us, we will get to see Duke playing something else. But MF going to come through. And of course, MF just very mobile at the current time with the changes to her kit and the difference to Strut. Easily able to get back into lane, so it is hard to take turrets against MF because she can just get back so quickly from recalls. And also just her trades are pretty ridiculous with her new passive and double up right now.
Yeah, well, the range on her slow too is just crazy. So, anyone who's been playing League lately knows that you have a hard time when you lane against an MF.
So Kindred Alistar priority once again for CJ, so they're not going to be mixing it up very much. Bubbling, it wasn't really his Kindred play, it was his jungle pathing last game that was a bit rocky. He didn't really play around his team's pressure that well, and it did get him caught out a couple of times. And we could see Alawi, I suppose.
I mean, Elise still a powerful pick in the jungle, but yeah, do you actually think we're going to see that Alawi?
It sets up an AoE Wombo combo, so that's
true.
A possibility for sure. SKT could entirely switch gears here, where they were going more for a poke style composition with protect the AD carry, and now they could just be going for the big bullet time and some more supporting area of effect damage. And this will be our first Alawi game, but
maybe not after all.
Might be some Gnar instead.
You know, we had Curse of the Sad Bullet Time way back when we were doing the Amumu Misfortune combos, back when Cloud Templar was slinging the bandages around before he went over to casting. But we'll see what sort of new Wombo combos they can come up with now.
Well, just a lot of CC taken so far by SK Telecom, and maybe an attempt here at a top lane Vlad for a little bit of sustain up against this Gnar.
Would seem acceptable, I suppose.
Yeah, they're going to need, again, whenever you play the Kindred, you generally are also going to take a tanky top laner, because the jungle has changed quite a bit from last season, where jungle was primarily used for crowd control and tankiness. And now, considering you can carry harder out of the jungle than you could previously, it does allow for more options. When it comes to carry top laners like we saw at the end of last season with the tanky junglers. Now, you can still do that, or you could play this style where you provide a lot of peel for the jungler and allow the Kindred or the Graves to be a primary damage dealer.
Lucian's still a very strong pick right now, so no big shock to see CJ lock that in for Kramer. Over on the SKT side, what's it going to be? A lot of good support options right now. There's a Trundle locked in.
Well, you got your wish, Doa.
Nice. Wolf's Trundle, he's going to be trolling the Rift. It's going to be great. But the Mumu, I don't think so. Yeah. Faker's been playing a lot of LeBlanc in solo queue like he always has.
Yeah, also a very safe blind pick. So I assume we're going to see the LeBlanc blind pick here. Just because without CJ showing a mid lane pick yet, it does make it a little more difficult. Corky, another safe blind pick, and it's going to roll through Bang's litany of troll choices. Victor, pretty safe. Just, again, solid wave clear. Not a whole lot changing with him. And that will be a blind Victor.
Okay. Well, We'll see how it goes. Victor hasn't been quite as popular lately, but still
it
pick.
goes into the AoE combo, right? Plus,
Yeah.
the choke control with the Victor Trundle combination. Basically, if you're doing Baron, good luck getting through Gravity Field and Pillar. Like, there's basically no way to stop them from doing a Baron when you have that much control over choke points. And the enemy jungle will be a very dangerous place for CJ to fight, or even their own jungle. Simply because there are going to be so many avenues blocked by SK Telecom, and the threat of the Gnar ultimate, bullet time over the wall, can be pretty brutal. So,
well, SKT has so many good methods to funnel CJ into chokes and then blow up. Yeah,
very scary.
Really, really cool. Can't wait to see how Wolf's going to be able to use that pillar when it comes to fighting. There's a LeBlanc locked in for Sky.
Yeah, LeBlanc, especially with the new Keystone Mastery system and the fact that you do have the Thunderlord, which adds even more burst, really, to her kit right there.
Yep.
So she is very, very powerful and generally a pretty safe laner in almost every situation. There have been some rumblings that I've heard, talking to some pro players, that Syndra is currently a viable counter pick against LeBlanc, but I haven't seen it myself.
Okay. Well, anyway you slice it, CJ has a lot of work to do if they want to come away from this series looking anything but weak. We'll see if they can come back and maybe put up a bit of a fight in Game 2 as we see our final lineups for both of these teams. Trundle Misfortune bot lane. Welcome to Season 6, guys.
Quite different indeed, but SKT trending more towards AoE teamfight composition. Looking to use the terrain to their benefit. Should be interesting. While CJ, Entus, a lot of the same picks. We'll see if Bubbling and Sky can do a little bit more damage this game, moving away from the pick composition at the very least.
Yeah, should be awesome to see. I love the big Wombo combo team fight comps. My favorite way to see League. And we will in just a moment as we load into our second game of Champion Spring. It's time, guys. Can CJ tie it up? Let's find out and get in the game. And we're back once again. CJ fans not giving up hope.
Have you given up hope, Daw?
Well, I'm not a CJ fan, so I don't know what that's like. I've been an SKT fan for a long time, man, so I've never had to worry about that.
And that's how he deleted 2014 from his memory.
There you go. Hey, well, you know, they almost, well, yeah, it didn't. It wasn't a great year, but it's a better year than CJ. Put it that way. Sounds good. We'll see if Sky can get any more traction going on this LeBlanc this game. Wolf already chasing Mad Life away. Beef is tasty. He wants to take a big bite.
What a debut game for Sky. You really don't wish this on anybody, do you?
No.
First professional game versus Faker.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do, right? I mean, it's your first professional game against Faker. It's tough, man. Just a tough position to be in. And playing a champion like Twisted Fate, too, that comes with some sort of inherent risks to playing the champion. He didn't make it easy on himself, you know?
No, he didn't. And I think that having the LeBlanc will be a simpler affair for him.
Yeah.
Overall. And it looks like we're not going to see any lane swaps once again this game. Both two lanes starting on that bottom side of the map. Both junglers starting with a leash from the top lane.
It looks like the duos are going to be taking some jungle camps on the way there, or just one jungle camp anyway. Sky getting aggressive onto Faker right away, and LeBlanc is a much safer champion for him to bring to this mid lane, so we'll see what he can do. Bang and Wolf, though, brand new combo. We've never seen these guys play either of these champions, as far as I know. I'd be very surprised if that were the case.
Maybe we've seen some MF, but we definitely haven't seen Wolf play support Trundle. That is a very new pick. Bubbling actually going for an early invade here.
Wow, Bubbling turning around on a Bengi. Bengi taking some damage. Needs to be careful here. Bengi in a lot of trouble. Faker coming in, flashes ahead. Can he get some revenge? A little bit of damage on Bubbling, but that's not going to do it.
Great cheese there for Bubbling, just coming in. So getting that early leash and then disrupting the blue buff, knowing that the level 2 dueling was going to beat out Bengi right there and winning. Meanwhile, he did have a little bit of safety. Maokai was pushed up a little bit, and that's much better sense of the map that Bubbling has had and sense of his power level than we saw at any point in the last game. So fun first blood coming over to Bubbling.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Kramer actually winning that first trade against Thang's Misfortune, and you don't see a lot of people winning trades against Misfortunes right now.
No, you don't. But again, like you said in the first game, the sustain coming from the Alistar will be quite useful, and looks like it's been a pretty nice early spawn here for Kindred. Anytime you can get the mark spawn onto one of the Scuttle Crabs, you're going to be feeling really good. Getting some of those early stacks, adding to your damage, it's always a nice feature. And Kindred just simply just going to go back. Bubbling takes the red buff and then retreats. Meanwhile, Bengi will move to the opposite side of the map, but there's not going to be any contest here over the blue buff followed into the Scuttle Crab.
Yep.
This is a really good early jungle start. Bengi's going to have to wait for a while to get pressure.
Yeah. And we're going to have to see how that impacts the other lanes too. You know, Sky and Kramer having some issues last game with all the pressure Bengi and the rest of SKT were able to put on them. But this time around, they've got a little bit easier way to go.
Yeah, and Tara even doing a pretty good job against Duke right here, winning that battle. Bengi going to come through, take out his blue buff at long last. And here's the Scuttle Crab kill for Bubbling. So he's getting a lot of free farm early, has some items. Going for the Tracker's Knife again, so looking for that vision, considering you're not going to build a Sight Stone onto Kindred, so having that Tracker's Knife can be quite useful.
All right, a little bit of action down the bot lane. Wolf gets caught. He may be in a lot of trouble here trying to run away. Nice pillar, slows down Madlife and Bubbling enough for him to make it out. Meanwhile, a big duel up in the top lane. Duke's going to lose that one, though.
Yeah, again, Wintara burning his teleport very early on. We saw him do this last game with Maokai, getting the double Doran's rings for the early power spike, and then just immediately using the TP. So forcing that advantage, Duke can have to TP himself now into the top side after losing that little engagement. They're going to try and turn this around. Wintara pushed very far forward. Bengi coming into the enemy jungle, but they decide too many minions right now, don't want to go for it. Duke, so not quite level 6 yet, so not having the most amount of CC.
Yeah, too bad. That looked like a
We'll see, they can still go for it. Now Wintara just going to go back and recall on that pressure, not going to take any chances knowing his jungler's in the bottom side and he has no vision. Yeah. So safe game, and Wintara not getting that same CS advantage that he has last time, but forcing Duke into a double Doran's purchase of his own.
Speaking of CS advantages, Sky has managed to get a little bit of one against Faker here. Not a huge one, but a little bit.
Yeah, Faker back to lane first, he'll even it up pretty quickly, and we do see what is going to be pretty common if you guys have been out of the scene for a little bit, which is a lot of Frost Queen's claims on mid laners, especially on 524. So what this does is it's an item that provides some nice stats, some extra gold, but also in a meta with lower vision because of the changes to the number of wards and the kinds of wards you can have. It makes it so you actually do get some knowledge by popping the Ghost, the active ability, and it's a very long 4-second slow in team fights too, so it allows you some pretty good crowd control in the midst of a team fight.
Yeah. Duke on the run, gets slowed down a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to catch him though, no. Easy escape for Duke. But you're right, I mean, the vision game has changed so much this season. No more buying green wards, you can only get those from items. And it's made everything a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more exciting, and it's made vision control a lot harder.
Yeah, certainly has. Bengi is still doing a good job of getting some deeper wards in though, in spite of that early death, and so far coming out on top with at least a minor farm advantage. Hasn't had the same number of shops though, and looks like Faker's going to start pushing up using his Death Ray, and they're going to go for a dive here on the bottom side. Madlife's still only level 4, so he won't be able to tank this.
All right, well, they know what's up now. There's the slow. Madlife in a little bit of trouble, goes back in onto Wolf and Bang, but he's going to lose a lot of health doing it again. No ult for Madlife equals an easy kill for SK Telecom. They committed a lot to it, but it looks like they'll get away with it.
Yeah, nice job. Faster on the roam. They knew both top laners' TPs were down. No unbreakable will yet.
And just like the plan, I'm sure they had going into it, Wolf got the kill.
Of
Worked
course,
out
naturally.
perfectly. Yep.
Quality trolling. They may go back for round 2 right here. Kramer still sitting under the turret. Now you know there's a pink ward there.
Yeah.
They can try and come around the back and get a cocoon down.
Well, they force the flash at least. They'll be able to get a lot of damage onto the turret if they want to.
Yeah, still a nice win. You can see Bang really out trading and out CSing Kramer here. Both Summon are going to be mixing it up very much. Bubbling, it wasn't really his Kindred play. It was his jungle pathing last game that was a bit rocky. He didn't really play around his team's pressure that well, and it did get him caught out a couple of times. And we could see Alawi, I suppose.
I mean, Elise still a powerful pick in the jungle, but yeah, do you actually think we're going to see that Alawi?
It sets up an AoE Wombo combo, so that's
true.
A possibility for sure. SKT could entirely switch gears here. Both sides of the rift here.
Wow.
For SK Telecom. It's not something you see very often. And same thing so far for CJ. MF was the final ban in the last game.
What's it going to be this time around? A lot of good picks. Tom Kench
that's probably
taken
smart.
away. Yeah.
This will force a little bit of a different style of composition out of SK Telecom. And fortunately for us, we will get to see
Oh boy.
Duke playing something else, but MF going to come through, and of course MF just very mobile. Lissandra have definitely historically been very potent picks for SKT because Lissandra's a very good flex pick when they had Marin, because Marin was probably the best top lane Lissandra player in Korea. And of course Faker no slouch on that particular pick either, so banning it on both sides again is a major change. So perhaps again Duke not exactly comfortable on those particular champions. They also might just want to take a longer team fight because they're leaning away from even picking Lulu first. So same bans on both.
Picks and bans for game 2 between SKT and CJ Entus. Reach trying to whip these guys into shape.
Interesting to me that SKT has banned out Fior on both sides. Maybe a pick that Duke isn't that comfortable on yet, because it's a big change in their strategy that we saw at the World Championship with Marin, where it was definitely a major priority for this team.
Yeah, very true. There's a Rise ban, of course, against Faker. Just not something you want to let the guy play, but...
And this is really interesting. So Fior in the at the current time with the changes to her kit and the difference to Strut, easily able to get back into lane, so it is hard to take turrets against MF because she can just get back so quickly from recalls, and also just her trades are pretty ridiculous with her new passive and the double up right now.
Yeah, well the range on her slow too is just crazy. So, anyone who's been playing League lately knows that you have a hard time when you lane against an MF.
So Kindred Alistar priority once again for CJ, so they're not